TK11697. This is going to be part 3 of the Walts Trooper Factory TIE pilot assembly. So you can see I've started to glue the 4 2 7/8 inch tabs across the across the left side hemisphere. There's the lip here that you could CA glue them on, or if you want to wait a couple hours, I guess you could use E6000. So they're glued and clamped on. I'm going to let them dry for a minute and then attach it to the other side of the hemisphere. The interior of the 2 hemispheres, now linked by the 4 tabs across the middle. They've been CA glued in nice and tight. I'm just going to let it dry. This is what it's going to look like head on. It's very important when you're putting that first tab on that this one you should do first, because the front of the hemispheres have to line up. If you don't line them up correctly, the helmet's going to look lopsided. So make sure you do this one first, followed by the back, so that the back lines up, and then the middle ones, they're just kind of there for support, so you can do them last. But the first one, just be a little careful with. You want to make sure that it lines up correctly, because it's going to be what people see, see the most head on. So instead of this one, of course, is correctly lined up, and I'm just going to let it dry. And then we're going to start looking at drilling holes and putting in the face mask. Alright, so the glue is dried, and I took the clamps off, and I've already drilled out the 4 holes you're going to want to make in the 2 hemispheres. The first 2 are at the top here by the mohawk, maybe about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 an inch in from the side. Just measure it from here, because one screw is going to go there and the next screw is going to go there. The next screws are going to go right down here where this indentation is. It's pretty easy, so you just tap that out there, and then the same over here, because the next part is going to be about adding the face mask. And as an example, here's partially finished helmet. Screw there, screw down there, same thing up here, down on the other side, because and then you're almost done. We said after that we're going to put on the ears, and then we're just going to have to put on the mohawk, and that'll be it. So the lensing and stuff like that I'll cover in another video. Alright, so the faceplate has been attached. It's been screwed in here and screwed in here. The only thing left to do now is the ears. And the ears, fairly simple. Just want to make sure that they line up correctly. You want them to face upwards. You got to imagine kind of how the helmet's going to sit on someone's head. You want to picture it's going to be like this, and then make sure that the ears stick up. They don't have to be perfect at a right angle or anything like that, but it's just going to look better the closer they are. And as you can see up here also, now that this is being glued together, I've cut away more. I've left the sides, but cut away more of the mohawk. And the reason for that is that, as you can see, I still have to put the actual solid plastic piece up here, but this will sit in there, and it'll just fit right on. You just glue it right on, no problem. Alright, so I'm going to set the camera up so I can show you putting on the ears. The ears have to go on sort of like this. You're going to want the overlap here on the ear to cover this dimple over here. So you can put it on like this, and then push the plastic in so that it lines up there. You can see it's pretty flush. So it'll cover about half of this indentation, maybe right up to the screw. I said it's got a nice look to it, and that's it. You're just gonna drill through the top of the ear in here, and obviously the corresponding spot on the helmet. And you're going to do it for the other side as well. The same thing here, you push in the side of the helmet in, the ear goes on like that, it gets drilled in, and that's it. So the ears are pretty easy. After this, and that's it for screws. You can throw a screw in, I guess if you want, you can put it in the bottom of the ear, or you can glue it, or however you want to do it. So one more screw in the bottom isn't going to hurt. And no one's going to see it because it's going to be covered up with the trimming. And that's it. I'll do that, and I'll show you how it looks. Finish drilling the holes for the ears on the bottom and on the side. This is going to be covered up with a greebly, one of the discs. The one in the side anchors the tube in the right way, also lines it up nice and flush so that when you're going to put your trim on, you can put U trim or S trim. I think U trim is more movie accurate, S trim is more comfortable. The CRL right now doesn't specify either one, so you do whatever. This side too, in here, kind of a head-on view. That's it. I mean, we got to put the mohawk on, which I'm going to do, but I'm going to use E6000 for that. Now, for the top part here, I use CA glue because I personally feel confident with CA glue. I've been doing this enough where I know what to do, and I don't think I'm going to make any mistakes. However, I will tell you that putting the 3-inch diameter strip across the top of the helmet, all to the back here, and bent down here with a heat gun, that is a challenge every time. Because if you do it wrong, if you get it even slightly out of position up front, it's going to just keep getting worse as you go back along the edge of the helmet. So you're definitely going to want to use E6000 and a lot of patience. You may have to take it off one or two times to get it right. That will be the last thing I do. There's no real trick to it other than lining it up, maybe using some magnets here to keep it on, like keep it in place while it dries, because it's going to take about 6 to 12 hours to dry, depending on the temperature and the humidity. In the inside of the helmet are screws. You can cut them down if you want. Personally, I like the screws on the side over here and over here because I used to attach the lenses that way. So I cut a hole in the very edges of the lenses and use these screws to anchor the lens in. And then the screws under here that go under the ears. Let's see if we get a better look at those. These screws over here can anchor in the chin strap. You just got to put a piece of fabric across and then put another washer and nut on it. Keep that in place if you want a chin strap. Again, it's movie accurate, but the CRL does not call for one. And that's it for this. I said I'm gonna make a whole separate video for putting the mohawk and this trident on. Just because the mohawk and the trident are well, the trident isn't too tricky, but the mohawk is very tricky. So, but that's it for now. You have your base helmet. It's where I am on this helmet. It's where I am actually on like 4 other TIE pilot helmets right now. So I'm going to do it all together at once, and I'll try to get some video for you so you see how it goes. But it is pretty straightforward.